we all, from yesterday to today, we understand what happens when you submit your paper. So we won't go through that. But the only thing I want to mention is that always remember that feedback thing we talked about, because that will determine how long that loop happens between the handling editor back to you. Peer reviewers have given their comment, it comes to you, it comes back. And I wanted to show this, that publishing obviously is not it's not something you do in a hurry. Promotion is in 2 months' time, and you feel, oh, I still need one more paper, and quickly cook something up and gaggle your the editor of the journal in your university that, please help me process this fast. I can see smiles because we know some people do it. Hopefully not anyone inside here, right? But some people do that. So this is an example of a peer review system. It took about 14 months from when we first submitted that paper. And mind you, I didn't do this is not the work I did when I was in Africa. So I was working in Europe. I was working in the UK. And we did the experiment, analyzed industry and university partner. I was the one that was analyzing it. So it's not as if I gave it to somebody else. After writing, and we submitted in March of 2021. It didn't get accepted until May of 2022. So you need to be patient when it comes to this process. That's about, I think, about 7 times from we submitting to peer review. Go back and forth, back and forth. But eventually that's published now. And it's exciting because that work is getting good citation, and it's the basis for the industrial partner that we worked with. What we did with this project has informed them developing a diagnostic tool that they're already selling now. So if you want to do things that are impactful, you can't rush it. Just please take the time, because it will be worth it at the end. All right. I just wanted to encourage somebody. In case you've submitted your manuscript and it looks like it's taken forever. Okay. So I have, maybe because of time, right? I will just give an example of some of the reviewers' comment on that particular paper, because I felt it would be good to be specific, right? Okay. So I'll read out a few of the things that, okay, let me just read from the second reviewer. So 2 reviewers on this one. So dear authors, thank you very much for the manuscript submission. Your work is well designed with brilliant potential for publication. However, there are some cases that should still be revised. Number 1, the method section suffers from, it wasn't even very nice. It's not, did not have, it suffers from a lack of, 1, the duration of the sample collection, age, gender, and patients of UTIs. And the authors claim that the urine samples are 94 and the isolated pathogens are 202. The monomicrobial and polymicrobial causative agents should be mentioned. So what I want to say there is that you can imagine, we thought that we've written a very good manuscript, but someone else using their own new pair of lenses found out that when we were describing our methods, the age of the participants wasn't involved, because that could be important in the interpretation. The duration, how long did we take the samples? Because as somebody was mentioning in the morning, somebody else might do exact same work as we have, but if they collected their sample in January to December, and you did yours in maybe, so they did say January to June, you did yours July to December, and you found probably different results. One of the bases that you could explain could be, for example, there are the environmental factors. It could be the seasons, if you are doing things that are agriculture related. It could be seasons, etc. So it's important that we're emphasizing that in your methodology, you should make it as descriptive as possible, because the issue that Evelyn just mentioned to us are the main point. It must be reproducible. If someone else wants to replicate what you've done, they should be able to use, it's just like a recipe. But in fact, it's a special skill to write protocols in the STEM subject, because somebody might write, oh, add this to this, and someone else writes, mix this and this. If it's an acid and you don't know which one to add first, you can burn yourself. So, and that's why those who work in industry, they are very strict with what they call SOP, standard operating procedure. Every detail will be written. What you need to take first, how you need to dispense the tip, how you need to hold this. Sometimes it's too pedantic. Why should you be writing this much details? But it's important, because if you want someone else to take the same manual and they are not there for you to ask them, oh, how exactly do you mean, or what exactly do you mean by this? We must be able to do that. Okay, so we will come back to this, but I want us to do a very quick practice, just to get our hands on what peer review looks like. So we should be about 28, 30. So can we pair ourselves into three groups of three? Please, let's do that very quickly. So if you are here, that's three, this is three. On this table, that's three, this is, do you want to join? Okay, someone else please should join this table so that there are 3, 3. 3, 3, good. And 3, 3. Okay, let me just distribute this straight away. Do you want to help me? So what I want is on each table, different things. So there is one result. You can share. So, but introduction should just be one on one table. And then you give results and discussion also to another table. Let's see how that goes. So that's introduction. You can give this result and discussion. Good. And then we do the same for all the tables. Thank you very much. All right. So does every group have something yet? Okay. Okay, let's do materials and method too. You can add materials and method too to people. That's fine. And result. They only have, so it's fine. So they have introduction, they have one thing. They can only do one section because of the time we have. So you have one. Oh yeah, please give them that. Yes. What do you have? Result one thing and you have one thing. That's fine. So you have one thing. So, oh, how many groups? You're more than 6? Three. Okay. So all you need is you pick one, you pick one. All right. Thank you. We all have that. So this is what I want us to do. In our group of threes, I've given, so some of you have, hello, can we have your attention? So in your group of threes, read through whatever you are given. So some people have introduction. Some people have results and discussion. Some people have methodology. Can you go through and see from what we talked about yesterday, what is missing? One, and how good is the presentation of results for those? So that's the key. I have done something here that can be helpful. So for those who are looking at introduction, does the background reflect the current knowledge? And is there a research question there? Is it clearly defined? For those who are looking at methodology, is the study design appropriate and effective enough to answer that research question? So that's what you are looking for. For those who are looking at the results and discussion, did the result answer the research question, if there was any research question at all? If there is none, then look at the presentation of the data and you can state it. So as you're looking through, make your comment on the side and please be nice, as if you are the one receiving it. All right? Because you can see some peer reviewers, like what I read, your method is suffering. So because it's a human being that's going to read it eventually, do that. And final point. So there are other things there. At interpretation and conclusion, focused on the data that's derived. Those who have results and discussion, look at that. And then general things. Obviously, we're not talking about novelty here, but is there any glaring omission? Do you think that there's something that should be there that's not there? For example, in the introduction, maybe they've only jumped from talking about general broad area and went straight into what they are proposing. Is there something, is there a gap that they could fill to make it read better? And final thing I want to say, as a peer reviewer, you are not just there to puncture hole into what they've not done well. You are also to suggest how they can improve what you observed is not proper. So let's do this exercise in the next 10-ish minutes. And we can come back together to share ideas. Thank you. Your time starts now. Hope it's going on well. They have a wristwatch. Okay, yeah, we'll still have. And so when I got in, I'm supposed to share, right? There was somebody else, I don't know what he was, and then there was her, she was there. So I got in and I said, thank you. And I forget that I was sharing. And then some guy came home, but before you start living, I said, oh, I am. Then he said, oh, very good. How's that going?
So materials and methods.
Okay.
We've not identified any error. They were very elaborate. Between dimensions of
That
materials.
could be feedback to be given when doing the peer review. It's very detailed, okay, and you leave it. If there's nothing, there's nothing. Okay. Okay, we have 2 minutes more to finish up this so that we can give feedback from the different groups.
But it's very interesting, like that one we are doing with UK Commission. Yes, that one is UK Heritage. This one is Africa, Egypt. I think they were doing Egypt, Nigeria, mobile. Yeah. Where the museum is coming from? Slave trade. I think that's be a heritage. Is it Ghana? Ghana, that's where the slave traders. Where's the heritage site for slave trade? What is it? By the
Cape Coast.
Cape Coast. Yeah. But this one in Nigeria, they're running with for slave trade. But this museum, the mobile museum, is like what is campaign campaign. That's what open.
All righty. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Let's quickly do a debrief. All right. Can I have your attention? Thank you. Hello. Can I have your attention? We can pause for now, please. So I want us to just have a quick discussion on, for those who looked at the introduction, how many groups looked at the introduction? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so very quickly, what feedback do you have for this manuscript? Just a second, Mike. Thank you. Yes.
Is this introduction?
No introduction, or you don't want to say anything yet? Okay, let's make it quick because of our time.
Yes.
Okay, so the background does reflect current knowledge.
Okay.
Yes. When you look at the first paragraph, you made reference to some statistics that was taken in 2023.
All right, thank you very much. One more introduction group. Feedback from one more introduction group. Introduction. Okay, so yes, what can you say about that introduction?
From what we have, we think that the authors did a good job with their introduction. It talks about what is known currently, and it's also stated the research question or the problem. So it's made mention that even though some, even though some of the work has been done a bit, but even though the result is promising, it has not been evaluated in real life. So that would be the question.
Thank you very much. You picked that up because I'd underlined that. So a round of applause for that group. Now, the reason I said that is while they didn't have a specific research question, I found out that they didn't have one, but they were able to, their problem statement was clear. We have developed this. It has potential from lab results. We can show that there is, if we can show effectiveness in the lab, we are now scaling that up to be able to do it in a field experiment to see if the same results we got. So it was clear what they wanted to do. So one point from me is that yes, introduction was fine, was detailed, but no research question stated. So when you are telling them, you can put it there. These manuscripts will benefit from a clear research question. While you've praised them for the good things and how clear the other parts were. Okay, methodology, quick. Methodology.
You have methodology.
Methodology group.
We think that their methods were very.
Hello, can we listen, please? One class.
We think that their methods were very detailed. It was very elaborate, and then everything was okay. So we would commend them on that.
Okay. I would also commend the fact that they were very visual. Because if you are reading something about developing a passive evaporative cooling blanket, you will only be wondering in your head, what does that even mean? What does that look like? But they did a good job of showing the schematics, and beyond the schematics, going even into pictures of the real life experimental setup on the field, etc. I think that's a good work. So when you see good things, commend it during peer review. It's not only the things that are not up to what you expect that we talk about. Okay, one more group on methods.
Said our points, but we
One more group on methods, please.
I think you have covered, you shouldn't have answered that question because we had it here.
Okay.
So we,
I didn't pick.
yeah,
I
so
didn't
we
pick.
identified that their method was very elaborate and well detailed. They had very good pictorial and graphic effects, clear images, and then they went further to add technical drawing. So it made it more. I'm not even in that field, but I'm.
And that's what you want to do to your reader, that they don't want to put down your manuscript. They just so enjoy that they want to see it to the end because you've given them all that will invite them to read more and read more. Okay, thank you. So that's introduction and methods. Let's go to results and discussion. Results and discussion. Okay, you're here.
Okay. Okay, so in terms of clarity of representing their results, they had good graphs and the legends were there clearly. However, we realized that they are numbering. For instance, you have 3.1, you read and jot a point for 3. You come back again and meet another 3.1. So if you are trying to use a review without going back to the document, the reference will be a bit of a challenge. Then we don't have the introduction, but we see at points they write the passive cooling blankets. Part of the discussion, they come to a cooling blanket. So maybe those who read the introduction might know whether it's the same thing. But I review only the results and discussion. I'm wondering whether is it the same thing I'm seeing or is it a different thing? But generally, in terms of their they brought the research questions to the results and discussion. So before they do any discussion, there's a research question. So looking at the first one, they actually solve the research questions there well. So they come to the next question, which they put there, and they make sure that they answer the research question.
Thank you very much to your group. Please, a round of applause for them. So, when we talk about writing style, right? Okay, writing style, they chose to do it that way. If it works for them, good. But for some other editors or reviewers, they might feel, why don't you tell me very first in your introduction what you are going out for, so that I know what to look for in your results before I get to your discussion. So, but if they are not penalized, it's fine. But it's, I think in terms of writing, personally, I would prefer that is into introduction. And then, because it will lead nicely from your introduction, you've talked about the aim of the objective of this paper. I go into the methods, I can link it. I go into the results, I can link it. All right. And there was another point that you made about the numbering. So I want to get that clearly. Is it that they mentioned, say, figure 3.1 and wrote many things and then talk about figure 3.1 again? Oh, it's the section numbers. Mm-hmm. Oh, so that must be an error, which you're very good to have spotted that. Okay, let's have the last conversation here.
Yeah, but we also saw something here. They said they reported their results using mean values and standard deviation. But when we read through, we realized that where they were supposed to state the mean value, they rather wrote SD plus minus the standard deviation. There are some places they didn't even indicate the mean values.
That's good. Eagle eye.
Yes.
So that's good. So for those kind of things, you could spot it out. So the way you want to write that, okay, let me not say the way. Let me use an example. Please, can we go back to our slide? Thank you. To show you then how you write that if you are a reviewer. How do you write that? And quickly show you an example of how to respond to reviewers' response, and then we will finish off. Okay. You can put our slides back up, please, sir. Thank you. So you need to give me 2 minutes more for the time that this is not coming up. Okay, please help me tap if this is not working for now, so we save time. Just the next slide, please. So, but if I would ask, while that's happening, was that exercise useful? Okay, so we know what we are looking for when we are reviewing, and that helps because if, for example, when we start doing our mentorship over the next few months and you start writing, you can peer review for yourselves and give feedback, because that will be helpful. You are not only helping your colleague that you are reading their manuscript, you are also helping yourself improve, because when you are writing your own, you know, okay, I must include all these details when I'm doing mine. Thank you very much. This is very small, but I'll try and read it out. So this is how we responded to the reviewer. I've shown you an example of what the reviewer wrote us, right? Okay, so dear editor, we're responding now. I was pleased to receive your email and the positive reviewer's report for our manuscript, titled all of that. So as a result of the helpful comment made by the referees, we've made some further improvement and full stop. So reviewer number 1. Now remember, you would have in some at least 2 reviews. So for some things, I would suggest that when you get reviewers' comment, right, many times you will be very angry. So it's better to just leave it for some days so that you calm yourself down and you're in the right frame of mind and come back to it. Because that's only when you can be objective. If you want to address it straight away, it won't be helpful. So, but when you have come back to it and you looked at it, there are some things that are only suggestions. Ignore. There are some things that, oh, they've only written all of these things. The best you could say, okay, thank you, we've noted it. So let's see the first point. Let me read the one that asked us that we should put the age and all of those things. So what we put there is that we appreciate the comment and have included details of the of that. I can see. Oh, God bless you. Thank you very much, sir. So it's these 2 that I need. Yeah. Excellent. So you can scroll up. Scroll, please. Please, can we go back to that side? We address reviewer 2 first. Okay, so the guy that said, thank you very much. So the one that said that, oh, you wrote well, blah, 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 we said thank you to them. So, number 1, so we addressed it point by point. The ones that needs to be addressed. The other things that doesn't need to be addressed that were just their comments, we left that out. And then we said, so for A, the first point that the method suffers from lack of each of the points that they made, we wrote number 1, duration of samples. The details of when the samples were collected have now been added in lines, this and that. So when they get this back, you make it easier for them to see the revisions you have made, and your chances of getting past faster is more than if you just do the correction in the manuscript and you read them a blank email to say, yes, we have corrected it, take the revised manuscript. It will take too long. So usually the approach is address each of those comments point. In fact, you will hear point by point response. So the first point, and also demarcate between their question and your answer. So we use color code, red, to say that this is what we have done. And you can go to line this to line this. That is where you will find that information. The second one, the age and gender of the participant. We've added a sentence line XYZ to the methods, explaining that as urine samples are anonymized, data on age and gender were not collected. So what that means is that it is not everything a reviewer says you should do that you can do or that you must do. As long as you have a rational basis for why you shouldn't do it, you can say it politely without it being an issue. So for example, when urine samples were collected, we anonymized because of ethical reasons. Yes, we got informed consent, but the study approval, the ethical approval was that we will anonymize. So you can't track, oh, this is the P, it is person A that has this kind of organism in their urine. that won't happen. Just one final thing, and I will leave this out. Okay, let's take B. The authors claim E. coli, Claire, Proteus, Staph staphylococcus were isolated from the urine sample. But in table 2, there is another isolated bacterial agent of Enterococcus, even with an asterisk, like I'm shouting, like, So what has happened to Enterococcus? So please be nice when you are writing reviewers' comment, right? Because that seems not too nice. Okay, not to use another word, but it doesn't sound too nice. But, we were calm. We said, details of the organism isolated from the 94 urine samples are provided in table S3. Now, remember, we talk about supplementary data. In the main manuscript itself, if we put everything, it will just be, you will not like to read it. So we put the main data that supports what we are talking about, and every other thing, we provided them as supplementary data. So table S3 is table in supplementary table 3. So you can go to table S3 and find out if what we have said is correct and if it answers your question. Table 2 shows samples where DFRA genes were detected, either directly from urine without culture or from culture isolate, with these data compared to phenotypic. So we answered specifically. Where we couldn't provide information they needed, we stated why we couldn't provide it. Where we could, we provided the information and we stated how we responded to it, where they can find it in the revised manuscript. So these are some of the ways that, and also we should note when responding to reviewers that they are also human beings. They, a lot of times, reviewers do it free of charge, on top of all the load of work that they have to do. So in responding, it is only professional to be objective and not allow any emotions go into the responding to the reviewers. And with that, I would ask can we take 1 or 2 questions? Okay, 1 or 2 questions. That's me, I've finished. Thank you very much. Questions?
Thank you very much. So I'm assuming that in this particular paper draft, there is line numbers. Because for my category, what we'll do is to have a table. And then the reviewers' questions are on one side, your responses on one side, and then you point out the pages where they are. And you have track changes in the actual document you're resubmitting as part of the point-to-point responses.
Okay, thank you. So if it's accepted that way, fine. But all that you can do, all you should do to ensure that you make life easier for the person who is going to check it. So basically, you can do, even in addition to doing the table, if you want to do this table in a table presentation, that's fine. But it's easier for them, instead of looking through, because we also still send track changes. Even with this, there's track change. So you submit one that is with track changes and submit one that is clean copy. So if they want to look at it in track changes, they can go and look for it. But in the clean revised one, you have, in addition to the page numbers, you can also include line numbers continuous. So from the title runs through to the references, so that they know, okay, you said line 121. I just go to line 121. Okay, this is what it used to be. It has changed truly, and it makes it easier for them. But whatever is accepted in your field, the whole idea is just make life easier for the reviewer. Last question. Okay. Thank you very much then.
Okay. Another round of applause for Dr. Yinka.